We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. And we pray that all unity may one day be restored, and they'll know we are Christian by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christian by our love. My name is Lee Byrd, Leon Byrd, and that song was part of the, used quite frequently in the civil rights movement of the 1950s.
In this program, you've already heard the song, They Will Know We Are Christians by Our Love. It is sung by Lee Byrd. Lee Byrd is a resident of Cross Keys Village of New Oxford, Pennsylvania, a place that is near to Gettysburg, which may be familiar to you. Lee is going to sing the song and share an incredible story with us that is dear to him.
At about 1956, 1957, somewhere back in that era, I was a transfer sophomore to a college moving from New Jersey to Tennessee, college in Maryville, Tennessee. And that's not too far from where one of the churches was blown up during the civil rights movement. And the school sent a letter out to every student coming on campus telling them that the school was going to integrate in September, and if you could not go along with that, then please don't come back to the school. That was a pretty big step. I mean, that's a financial step as well as a moral step. But they were taking serious John 13, where it says, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." So I went. It wasn't a problem for me. And I got right in the middle of the civil rights movement. I had no intention, but there I was. So anyhow, that year we had 3 black women on the campus of about 600 students. And they put them in the dormitory, the girls' dormitory. But they were really concerned about how young men would react. And so they had 2 black young men who were coming onto campus, and they put them in the YMCA, which was on campus actually, but they didn't put them in the dormitory. Now, at Maryville College at that time, we ate as a family. So we sat in tables of 8 with a student who was our waitress. And that student, I think, covered 4 tables. But she sat at our table. And lo and behold, this black young man sat at our table of 8. And we got to know him as a person. His name was Harold. And as the semester went on, I discovered that Harold was living at the YMCA. Now, I was a transfer sophomore, and my roommate was supposed to be a senior, and he didn't come back to campus. So I ended up with this nice big senior room. It was a corner room. It had lots of windows, and it was a big room, and I'm there by myself. So one day I said to Harold, "Harold, I got a nice big room. Why don't you come over and room with me?" And lo and behold, he agreed to do that. And the student resident advisor saw no problem with that, and Harold moved in with me. And he was, without a doubt, the best roommate that I had when I was in college. And this song came to life for me during that period of time. Let's listen to the second verse. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. Now, Harold and I had a good time. We ate together. We had bunk beds. He always took the top bunk. I took the lower bunk. One thing I'll tell you about Harold, though, he was hard to get up in the morning. He had one of those big Ben clocks that was about yay big, and it had a bell all the way around the bottom of it, and it probably rang about 5 minutes before he even heard it. And then I usually had to jerk his covers off of him to get out of bed. He was hard to get up. But Harold and I became good friends. We studied together. We palled together. We played football together. And we ate at the same table and had absolutely no problems in the dormitory at Maryville College. Not one problem out of the 300 boys that were living there. Now, we did have a problem in town sometimes. Now, Maryville College, back in the 1950s, they had rules for girls. Those rules didn't apply to the boys. I think they kind of figured if they could control the girls, they could control the boys. So we had no restrictions. Girls had to be in their rooms by 10 o'clock. It's exam week, and we're studying. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and about 15 of us decided we would walk downtown where there was a 24-hour restaurant. We all walked in, and they had about 15 benches, and we sat on the 15 benches at the counter, and we ordered hot dogs and hamburgers and milkshakes and all the fixings that go with it. And all of that is on the grill out in front of us, and we're watching it being cooked. Harold is sitting around about middle way of this group. There's a Hispanic young man that's right next to the cash register. And while all this is happening, in comes the owner of the restaurant. Now, my assumption is somebody called him and told him that we had this problem at the restaurant. And he comes in, and he stands there at the register and looks down this group of 15 students, and he says to the Hispanic young man, pardon my language, "Is that a nigger down there?" And the Hispanic young man says, "Excuse me, that's my friend you're talking about." He said, "I don't care if he's your friend or not. Is that a nigger down there? 'Cause I ain't going to serve no nigger." And the Hispanic young man said, "You know, his money spends just like mine does." He says, "I ain't going to serve him. I just am not going to do that." And I was so proud because 15 young men from Maryville College got up and walked out of the restaurant. And there sat our food cooking. I hope they had a good meal that night. We walked back to campus. Now, campus is 600 students. I mean, it doesn't take long for the news of the evening to get around the campus. And from that day forward, not one student went into that restaurant. And by the end of the semester, they closed the restaurant. It went bankrupt. I was so proud of us as students from Maryville College. We were in the spirit. We were walking with each other, and we were working with each other. That's the third verse of this song. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. And we'll guard each one's dignity, save each one's pride, and they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. Now, Harold did not come back to campus. I believe it was the Christmas break. He did not come back to campus. We didn't know what happened to him. He just didn't come back. And I did not see Harold until 2001. And I found him on the internet. And I found out how to get a hold of him, and I called him, and lo and behold, he lived in Washington, D.C. He was self-employed. He owned his own taxi cab. And I was a chaplain at the 2001 National Jamboree of the Boy Scouts. So that was down at Camp A.P. Hill, Virginia, not far from Washington. So I asked if he and I could get together at the end of the Jamboree and have dinner together and just sit and chat for a while. So he met me at my motel, and we went next door to a restaurant and caught up with each other for about 3 hours, I think. And then we went over to the motel and sat till midnight chit-chatting with each other. And then he went back home, and I went back home the next day. And then I didn't see Harold again for a couple of years. And then my wife, oh, by the way, my wife is the waitress in this story. Been married for more years than I care to tell about. It's well into the 50s. And she and I went to Washington, D.C. for 3 or 4 days. And when we called Harold so she could meet him after all these years. And Harold, being a taxi cab driver, he said, listen, while you're down here as tourists, you don't drive your car. You call the taxi cab. He said, I'll pick you up. I'll carry you anywhere you want to go, and we'll just have a good time together. And that's what we did for 3 or 4 days. And Harold toured with us, and we just had a really good time with Harold. You know, that civil rights is all behind us somewhat. I mean, there are still those people that don't understand it. But this song ends with a benediction, and let me share that with you, and then I'll close the story off. All praise to the Father, from whom all things come, and all praise to Christ Jesus, his only Son, and all praise to the Spirit who makes us one, and they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. Another interesting thing about Harold and I has to do with my wife. Her name is Arlene, and it was Jones. Arlene Jones. And as we're sitting around the tables, 8 of us, every meal, and especially on Sundays when we had a little extra time for meals because we didn't have to run off to class, we got teasing Arlene Jones, and we started teasing her about her name, and we told her that she didn't look like any Jones we'd ever met before. She looked a lot more like a Smith. And now Arlene Smith doesn't sound too good. maybe Sam Smith would sound good. And from that day forward, we called her Sam. To this day, I still call her Sam. And Harold's the only person I know who still calls her Sam. We were good friends, and we are good friends. And I rejoice in having known Harold as my roommate and now my buddy. Thanks, Harold. Thanks for waking me up to a new world.
We again want to thank Lee Byrd for sharing his story with us on Brethren Voices. Thank you very, very much.
We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. And we pray that all unity may one day be restored. And they'll know we are Christian by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christian by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. We will work with each other. We will work side by side. And we'll guard each one's dignity, save each one's pride. And they'll know we are Christians by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. We were good friends, and we are good friends. And I rejoice in having known Harold as my roommate and now my buddy. Thanks, Harold. Thanks for waking me up to a new world.